Welcome, witches.
I'm Candy.
And I'm Jen.
And we're the Cornfield Coven.
Right, so today we are doing a take two. We recorded this last week, and we recorded 48 minutes of nothing.
It was fun, though.
It'll be interesting to see, the recording time difference here. I think, so you were pretty shocked as I went through the details of this case last time. And now you know it. So
I know
you had the spoilers. But I think you should just, really overact it. Like, everywhere where you were surprised last time, you should just be like, oh my God!
But I was so kind of invested, and thinking in my head, I was kind of like, I'm going to pick up stuff that I should have caught last time.
Yeah, possible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like watching
because it's a twisty, windy road, this one.
But I'm that way with Criminal Minds and
Yeah.
CSI Miami and stuff like that. I'll watch them and I'm so focused on thinking who did it so I can be like, I know who did it.
Yeah.
That I'm overlooking.
Yeah.
And then when I do watch reruns, I'm like, well, that was the obvious thing right there. And so, yeah.
Yes. All right. So this is the Cari Farver case, and I watched Lover, Stalker, Killer on Netflix. I'm sure many of you have as well. I also read various articles, and there is a book on this case, and I do have to admit I did not read the whole book. I was kind of in a tight spot, and I didn't have time, so I apologize. I did the high school Cliff Notes type thing, but I do want to read the book eventually. Because it is Leslie Rule's A Tangled Web, and Leslie Rule is the daughter of the legendary Anne Rule. So, would like to read that sometime. I suggest you guys all check it out because
I love Anne Rule.
Are awesome.
I love Anne Rule.
Yeah.
Who
doesn't?
Well, and
I don't know anybody that's like, oh my God, don't like Anne Rule.
She does a lot of West Coast killing, I-5 killing, and that's where I'm from. But she can write to where I'm like, give me more. I want to, and then I'm like, this is too scary, I have to put it down, and then 2 seconds later I'm like,
Joey, do you want to put the book in the freezer?
Please put it away. Oh.
All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started here. Our story starts with Dave Krupa, who was an auto mechanic, and he met his partner of several years, Amy Flora, around the year 2000. The couple had 2 kids together, but after years of working different shifts, they had just kind of grown apart. The relationship wasn't really working anymore. So as they separated amicably in the summer of 2012, Amy decided she wanted to move to Council Bluffs, Iowa to be closer to family. Dave agreed to make the move as well so that they could co-parent effectively. I just think it's really awesome. I just want to point out, Dave and Amy, they separated, their relationship wasn't working anymore, but they're like, hey, this is all about the kids, we're gonna do what we need, and they stayed really close friends. I just think that's awesome. It's not always possible, I know, when a relationship ends, but I just think it's really cool when it does.
It's
not. So he got a job and an apartment, but moving to a new town where he didn't know anyone, and he was single. It was lonely. So, and he was in Omaha, which is right across the river. Council Bluffs and Omaha are, so Omaha is in Nebraska.
Okay.
Council Bluffs is in Iowa. So he joined the popular dating website Plenty of Fish.
Not farmers only.
No, he's not a farmer. He's a mechanic. He quickly matched with Shanna Elizabeth Golier, who went by Liz. They each had a boy and a girl. They shared a lot of
Aww.
interests, including heavy metal and motorcycles.
Yes.
Dave liked that Liz was obviously an animal lover, owning 2 dogs, a cat, and a large snake. Yeah, she had a snake. My husband would have been like, sorry, deal breaker.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd be like, hi, you can keep that in the garage where I do not go.
So they hit it off on their first date, but Dave tried to be firm, but also kind in telling Liz that he did not want to be tied down and he was not looking for a serious relationship.
Player.
Yeah, but you know what? He's honest about it. This is what I want.
But then again, bad relationship ending, starting over. He just needs to find himself.
Yeah, he's just, I think he was really focused on his kids too. He was lonely, wanted to date around, but he didn't really want anything serious. He's got his job. He's got his kids. Those are his focuses. So, I don't think he was ready to add a serious relationship to the mix. And good for him for recognizing that and being honest about it.
That's true. I do have to say, when you're like, oh, he's a player, he's a player. No, he was honest from the start.
Yeah,
I like chocolate. Someone might not like chocolate. They're honest from the start. Okay, I know not to bring you chocolate. I won't
force chocolate in your face then.
I'll eat it for you.
So he continued to see Liz off and on, but was still checking out other women on the dating website. There was tension in the relationship, with Liz pushing for more of a commitment and Dave resisting.
Oh.
Yeah, I think, they kind of always think like, oh, he says he doesn't want a serious relationship.
I'm going to fix him.
Enter me. He's going to fall so madly in love with me that then he'll want one, which is not great. Don't do that. If somebody tells you what they want, listen. In the fall, Cari Farver came into Dave's shop to have her Ford Explorer serviced. Dave was immediately attracted to her, but he didn't expect anything to come of it until he saw her on that dating website later. So he sent a connection request. While he was attending the Freakers Ball Halloween party in a coordinated costume with Liz.
Freakers Ball.
Her insistence on a committed relationship had him thinking about Cari. So I do think, Liz was getting some kind of mixed messages, because it sounds like, she insisted on these coordinated costumes and stuff, and he's not really interested and doesn't want a serious relationship. He did go along with it, and that kind of gives her the message.
You coordinate costumes. You're a couple. You're claimed.
But also, I mean, if he's still saying like, okay, I will do this for you because you are asking me to, but you need to understand, I still don't want a relationship. We weren't flies on the wall there. We don't know what was happening exactly, but. Anyway, so a few days later, he and Cari meet for their first date. Cari was happy and confident and worked as a computer programmer, and Dave was smitten. However, the evening was marred by a barrage of texts from Liz. Dave tried to ignore them, but eventually he took a call from Liz to attempt to put a stop to the incessant messaging. Later, Cari accompanied Dave to his apartment, but the door buzzed within minutes. It was Liz, insisting she had...
Stalker!
Yeah, she had to come inside now to retrieve her things. Cari took the situation in stride. This is their first date, after all.
So question, though. Hold on.
Yes.
Did Liz know he was going on a date with somebody else? Or did she just call him, he didn't answer, so she got a hint, drove by, saw he wasn't home, so then kept calling, and then waited. And then when she saw somebody else came home with them, that's it. I'm out. Because
that's the question.
Because she's crazy.
He was he wasn't cruel. He wasn't telling her, I can't go out with you tonight because I'm going out with someone else. He was just like,
tonight's not a good night.
Yeah, it's none of your business, really, I think.
I have plans.
So Cari left as Liz came in, and this resulted in just a mere seconds eye contact exchange between the two as they were passing.
Bitch.
Yeah. No words were exchanged. Just eye contact, but it was awkward as shit.
An eye look from an evil or a mad woman could say a million words.
Yes. So Dave eventually caught up with Cari later that evening. She was clear that though they could have fun, she'd had some negative experiences with serious relationships and wasn't ready to entertain that idea. Dave was elated.
I was just going to say,
he found what he was looking for, really. So despite neither wanting a serious relationship, Dave and Cari quickly fell into a rhythm. While she lived in Macedonia, Iowa, nearly an hour away, he lived in Omaha, just blocks from her relatively new job. Over the next 2 weeks, Cari stayed over at Dave's frequently. During this time period, Liz contacted Dave again, saying she had left something else at his apartment.
Of course.
They hooked up when she came to retrieve it.
Did she show up with clothes or without clothes?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did she just slip and
fall? It
fall?
was probably the naked under the overcoat thing.
Oh, gosh,
I'm guessing. I don't know. Dave felt guilty about this, but he and Cari hadn't made any commitments either. He decided to just try and move on, and, he kind of wanted to focus on just dating Cari. Even though, again, it wasn't serious. On November 13th, 2012, Dave left Cari at his apartment as he went to work. A few hours later, he received a text from Cari suggesting they move in together. Yeah, Dave was taken a bit aback as he thought they'd established this boundary from the start and relayed that in his response. Though he was enjoying their time together, he was still not interested in a serious relationship. Cari's response was volatile. I hate you, you've ruined my life, etc. So Dave went home for lunch that day and found that Cari and her belongings were gone. He was sad, but based on her reaction, figured maybe this is for the best. Over the next few days, texts and emails from Cari started coming in at an alarming rate and with a violent intensity. Things like, I will ruin your life, I'll take away your happiness, etc. Over these same few days, Cari's mother, Nancy, was growing concerned. She hadn't seen or talked to her daughter on the phone in days, and the messages she was getting from her via text, email, and Facebook were odd, to say the least. Cari was a stickler for grammar, but these messages often displayed spelling errors and missing punctuation, which was just not like her. Also, she had not shown up to pick up her son, Max. Cari was a dedicated mother and seemed to love her job and living close in Macedonia. Her coworkers were baffled when they received a resignation via text.
Ooh.
Now she was saying she had taken a job in Kansas and would be back for her son. She also sent a picture to her mother of a check for $5,000 from Shanna Gollier. Shanna Gollier.
Gollier.
She goes by Liz. Her middle name's Elizabeth.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
Oh! Okay, keep going. I'll get there. All
right. So it's this check for $5,000 saying she'd sold all her furniture to this woman and Nancy should allow the woman into her home to get it. Which was just odd. And Nancy didn't do it.
I was going to say.
Yeah. When Cari didn't show up to her brother's wedding, which she'd been very excited about, Nancy filed a missing persons report. The police did investigate. Tracking Cari's phone showed it was still moving around the Omaha area. Financial records showed 2 transactions in the area in the days after Cari was last seen. They spoke to Dave, who showed them the messages. They looked through Cari's house, and it didn't look as though someone had moved out. Cari's bed was made, there was a coat hanging over the back of the chair, nothing was packed, and her medication was left. Here's where we get to the problem. Yep. Cari was bipolar, and the possibility came about that Cari had stopped taking her medication, which was causing the erratic behavior, and she would eventually resurface. So they just figured she's not on her meds, she broke up with this guy, she just needs some time, she's just gonna be hysterical for a little bit, how women are. So after those 2 financial transactions, Cari's accounts were never accessed again.
Ding, ding, ding,
yes.
Ding.
Nancy felt the police had written her daughter off, but she knew something was terribly wrong. Based on the erratic messages she was getting, Nancy and her husband filed for guardianship of Cari's son, Max, which was granted on November 29th, 2012. November 30th was Cari's 38th birthday. Then Max's birthday came to pass. Then Cari's father passed away. And Carrie's father was not married to Carrie's mother, Nancy. They had divorced when she was pretty young, but she was very close with both parents. Nancy remained close. They were really effective co-parents. So Carrie's father passes away. Carrie did not surface. Shortly after the passing of Carrie's father, Nancy had a dream that they were together.
And mother's intuition.
Yes, yep, you cannot discount that.
But the fact that her father passed, she didn't come. And if they all got,
right.
But they were like, Carrie was probably like, we have to let mom know that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Liz, you're going down.
So now Dave and Nancy weren't the only ones receiving incessant concerning messages. Liz revealed to Dave that she was also receiving threats and warnings from Carrie. The messages to Liz and Dave had escalated from just being a nuisance. They were being stalked. They'd receive messages that indicated Carrie could see them and detail what they were doing. Dave would even receive messages when he was eating out with his children, detailing where they were and what each child had ordered. Like, you're eating a pizza and your son is eating a burger. Bitch, I'll kill you. Leave my kids alone, you know? Like,
that. Yeah,
so scary. And this is just the beginning of scary.
Wow.
We're on a wild ride here.
Ballsy.
Yes. So Dave and Liz were drawn together by the shared experience of the stalker, and their relationship was rekindled.
Hold me, I'm scared.
So texts and emails continued to escalate and started coming from dozens of different numbers and email aliases, all with some variation of Carrie's name. So originally it just started with like Carrie's number and Carrie's email address, but then it started to come from 20 different phone numbers and 30 different email addresses.
Okay, Liz is putting way too much time and effort, or, whoever, but I can't even schedule laundry and work in the same. Wow.
So Dave and Liz continue to cooperate with police. Liz was somehow able to explain away the check connecting her to Carrie as having to do with the love triangle and the stalking. I don't know exactly what she said, but somehow she was able to explain that away because they really didn't do much about it at this time. One investigator stayed close to Dave and tried to locate Carrie, knowing she must be close enough to see him based on the information in the messages. He even went door to door near Dave's place of employment, but nobody had seen her. Carrie's parents reported her Ford Explorer as stolen, hoping that if the vehicle it was found, it would lead to Carrie, because there wasn't a lot going on with the missing persons investigation. The vehicle was found on January 8th, 2013, nearly 2 months after Carrie was last seen.
Oh, wow.
It was processed and one fingerprint was found, but it didn't match Carrie or anyone in the automated fingerprint identification system, more commonly known as AFIS.
Oh.
Yeah. So it wasn't someone with a record.
Yeah.
The situation continued to worsen in 2013. Liz's car was keyed and horror was spray painted in her garage. In another incident, Liz's clothes were all laid out on her bed, stabbed and slashed, and horror was written on her wall in lipstick. I feel like I'm saying horror weird and you're laughing at me.
I'm laughing because I'm just visualizing her in her own room, slashing her own car. Like, did she pick out, I ain't gonna wear this again anytime soon?
Yeah.
And then telling people, that was my favorite sweater. Or, where were her kids? Probably a dance.
I think when a lot of these things happened, they were with their fathers. I think.
That's all I'm like, Mommy's outside hitting things again.
And I agree, but to protect the children, because they didn't do anything.
She's crazy, but at least she's putting them first.
There's not a lot out there about her kids, where they were, who their parents are. There's not a lot out there about them, and that's okay.
Children should be left out of that stuff.
Right. Text then followed saying, "She will die. No one can stop me." Windows had been broken in both Dave and Liz's homes. In April 2013, Nancy received a call from someone claiming to be Dave and stating that Cari was at a homeless shelter and needed to be picked up. The devastation upon learning that this was a hoax meant to hurt Nancy cannot be overstated. And then Max, who had also been receiving messages and was skeptical and worried for his mother, initiated contact with her on Facebook Messenger. She initially responded, but when he asked her 3 questions to confirm her identity, and those 3 questions were, what was his middle name? What was the name of our first dog? And who is his best friend? She stopped responding.
No. She got caught. They're on.
Amy, Dave's ex, was so concerned about the situation that she was uncomfortable allowing the kids to go to Dave's apartment. He would need to go to her home to see his kids.
Amy
Good for
is
her.
smart. Amy?
Yes. Dave was on the verge of a mental breakdown. He's like, this is costing me time with my kids now.
Cool.
It's been going on for almost a year.
How lucky is he that Amy is A, smart.
Yes.
B, did not get a lawyer
and just say you can't see your kids. She didn't want to do that. She didn't want to hurt her kids. She knows Dave is a good dad. She doesn't want to do that to anybody. But she's like, you got to come here. You had a brick thrown through your apartment window. My kids can't be there. Yeah. And he agreed with her. So now Liz became jealous of Dave and Amy's relationship. She didn't understand how exes could be such good friends and on such good terms. Amy even initiated a meeting for the 3 of them to allay Liz's concerns. But it made Liz more hostile toward her, if anything. Dave was continuing to date other women he met on the dating website with not great results. Either the women were targeted by the stalker and viciously harassed, or they ended up being fake accounts created by the stalker to stand him up. And then you'd get a text, it's Cari, bitch. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Yep.
Wow.
He also had casual encounters with some female friends. Liz was clingy, needy, possessive, and his friends were concerned by her behavior. One of his friends proclaimed her continuing casual sexual relationship with Dave. So she's like, yeah, I'm still fucking him. So
next victim, please step up to the plate.
And then she demeaned Liz's relationship with Dave, calling her his Wednesday girl.
Sorry, he makes his whistle wet on Wednesdays.
Liz, would you like some aloe vera for that wicked burn? Yeah.
Gosh.
So in August 2013, Liz's home was set on fire. She and her children were not harmed, but all of her pets, remember she had 2 dogs, a cat, and a snake, died. And she lost most of her belongings. The fire investigator was sure it was arson. There was no question. There was accelerant. There was, it was arson. So Liz brought up the stalking right away and indicated she believed this was connected. Sure enough, text messages showed up soon after, taking credit for the fire and threatening to finish the job. Liz was really good at portraying herself as a victim.
I want to know where she's hiding these burner phones.
Right?
Does she have a box buried in the backyard?
Right.
Are they in the trunk of her car?
We'll get into that a little bit. I think it's more complicated than that. I don't think it was a box of 40 phones. I think
Which one am I using today?
I think she could use the computer to make it appear to be coming from different numbers. Yeah. So Liz didn't mention to the fire investigator how she was being evicted from that residence, how she had already removed most of the valuables from that residence, and how she herself was involved in other relationships. So
what?
You see, as clingy and possessive as Liz is of Dave, she had actually been in a long-term relationship with Todd Butterbaugh, which I know.
Sorry, Todd.
Which he thought was a committed relationship.
Was she as clingy with him as she is with...
I don't think so.
He was just...
Yeah.
He was just the backup dude.
Yeah. So Todd had found out about Liz's infidelity and stalking earlier in the year because she was working with police. And she had to mention that to Todd because that's who Todd works for.
Shut up.
Yes, he works for the police. So she knows if she's talking with police, he's eventually going to see her name.
Yep.
Out there, somebody's going to mention it. So she tells him, like, hey, I cheated on you a little bit with this guy, and I got in this love triangle, and now I'm being stalked.
You.
So, but yeah, she, like, explained it all away, made it all out like she was the victim. And she just continued to spin tales to string Todd along. And she moved in with him after the fire. And this was not the first time that Liz had spun tales. Liz's life had not been an easy one. Her father was abusive. And soon after leaving him and gaining custody of her children back, Liz's mother was struck and killed by a driver who had an epileptic event while driving, and he hit her and killed her. It was very sad.
So she has daddy issues and separation anxiety issues, probably. Hence the obsessive partner.
So she grew up in foster care, had a failed marriage at a young age, and I hate to say that, but like, it's okay to fail at marriage.
It is okay, but
it's such a negative connotation. But like, she was young, she got married, it didn't work out. That's a better way to say that, because you can't really, I don't know. I don't want to consider that a failure, because if you need to get out of that relationship, then it's good that you do so.
Don't get married because you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Or because he's the love of your life. You can wait 5 years.
Yeah. Then she started dating a young man whose family did not approve of her. She pushed.
That family must be psychic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right? She pushed, which strained the relationship. And then she became pregnant. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but that further stressed the relationship.
I'm going to keep him because I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Once the baby is born, Liz's behavior becomes even more erratic. It's believed, very possible. It's believed that Liz had also started a relationship with her roommate at the time. And now the baby dies of shaken baby syndrome while in the care of this roommate.
Was the roommate jealous of the baby or didn't know how to take care of a baby? Now, besides postpartum depression, she now has psychotic mommy without a baby syndrome.
Yeah.
That's what I would call it.
The roommate was charged with second-degree murder and eventually pled guilty. However, there was much suspicion of Liz's involvement here. I am not saying that Liz was involved. I am saying there were reports and rumors that there was a lot of suspicion
I am saying Liz
around
is involved. I will say it. That is sad.
Well, there were letters stating the man's guilt, but they were highly suspect. And Liz just seemed to be very manipulative over every situation. So
did she lure him to take the fall?
I don't know.
She must have a magic
really
vagina.
Don't know. I do think she might have been at work when it happened. But yeah, it wasn't SIDS. It was shaken baby. So it's bad. He ended up going to prison. She did not face any charges over this. However, in another situation, a woman who became involved with an ex of Liz was subjected to harassment, threats, and even identity theft at the hands of Liz. So
if I can't have him, no one can.
Yeah.
Wow. She's got a lot of time on her hands.
Apparently.
What does she do for a living again?
She owned her own cleaning business. Yeah.
Who else did she scam and get their social security numbers? And
yeah, who knows?
Wow.
So everything continued over the next year and a half. No progress was made in finding Cari or the stalker. However, in early 2015, two best friends in the Pottawatomie County Sheriff's Department in Iowa. Pottawatomie. I love it. Pottawatomie. So this is in Iowa, so it's the Council Bluffs area. Requested to take over the case, and it would change everything. Nancy was skeptical when Sergeant Jim Doty and Deputy Ryan Avis came to her with renewed interest in the case of her missing daughter. They started combing through all the evidence in the case. Dave has continued to cooperate with police, and now he has new concerns. Amy seems to be the stalker's target now. Threats to harm Amy and even to slit the children's throats start coming in. Dave and Amy are both terrified. Dave's father purchases a Smith & Wesson 9mm semi-auto pistol for Dave. Not that Dave couldn't have purchased it himself. I just don't think Dave was at that point, but his dad's like, you're going to arm yourself. I've registered this to you. So at one point, Amy found her son sleeping on the couch with a baseball bat, saying he wanted to be able to protect them from the stalker. It just breaks my heart into a million pieces. So Dodie and Avis decided to take different points of view on the case. Dodie would work from the perspective that Cari was dead, and Avis would work assuming she was alive. After
Two
looking,
points of view.
Yes.
That's smart.
Yep, and see where they meet in the middle. After looking over everything previously collected on the case, Dodie and Avis agreed with Nancy that Cari had not left of her own accord and that in all likelihood she was no longer with us. Dodie and Avis looped in Special Deputy Tony Cava. We love Tony. Spoiler alert, we love Tony.
I just love his name too. Cava.
Tony Cava. He was an IT whiz, which is an understatement. This guy is amazing. So they have tens of thousands of text messages and emails originating from dozens of numbers and email addresses. However, every computer has an IP address, which is like a home address for your computer and can be tied to a location. When Cava dived in, he realized that the stalker had been using several different programs to disguise the IP addresses. So that's why I think she was also using programs to manipulate the phone numbers that were appearing from which they were coming. But two can play at this game, and Cava played it much better. He designed a program he named Dex, yes, after Dexter, to sift through the IP addresses and narrow down the possibilities. One came up prominently and was very concerning to Cava. It was linked to Todd Butterbaugh, who was a direct report to Cava. So this guy worked for him. He's like, yeah, this is my employee. This is his address.
Oh my gosh.
They served a search warrant on Todd's home and asked if anyone else was living with him or using his Wi-Fi. Why, yes. His girlfriend Liz had been living with him since her home burned down, and she had been using his Wi-Fi for years. Now having a solid connection to Liz, investigators started combing through more of the previous evidence collected. Not long after Cari disappeared, Liz's phone had been downloaded along with Dave's, since she was a victim of stalking. So she thought she was so smart, she let them download her whole phone. In reviewing it again, they found a photo of Cari's vehicle dated December 24th, 2012. More than a month after Cari had gone missing, but weeks before the authorities found Cari's car. And that nifty little fingerprint? Yeah, that was a match for Liz. Investigators informed Dave that they believe Liz was behind everything all this time. Dave said this was a mindfuck, and I have to completely agree with his wording because I don't know if there's another word for it other than mindfuck. It was devastating to realize that probably meant that Cari was dead and had been the whole time.
Oh. But you know what? I'm sad she's gone, and I'm sad that that's happened to her. But thank God she wasn't still alive, being tortured, being hurt, being in pain.
But her name and reputation was being ruined, dragged through the mud.
Ruined, yeah.
You know?
And her poor mom is out there like, no, she's a good girl.
And her son, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Screw Liz.
Yeah. Oh, screw Liz. So they placed a tracker on Liz's car, and they found she was circling Amy's residence multiple times a day. One night, Dave returned home from visiting his children to discover his gun had been stolen. He reported it immediately. On December 4th, 2015, Liz came into the Potawatomi County Sheriff's Department to file a complaint of harassment against Amy. Avis used this to go talk to Liz and, use the excuse that he was talking to her about her complaint. She's the one who came to us. So Liz identified Dave's gun. She knew it had been stolen, and she thought it was Amy who had stolen it. She also stated that she thought the harassment over all these years that was actually being perpetrated by Amy, not Cari. Avis asked if Liz would be willing to have her phone downloaded again so that they could look into where the harassment was coming from. Liz signed the consent, handed it over again.
She's a smart chick, but she's stupid.
Yeah. That's always the way, though, isn't it? I feel like. Okay, so on December 5th, 2015, the next day, Liz calls 911 saying she's been shot in Big Lake Park, which is very close to the sheriff's department. She'd been shot in the thigh, missing all major arteries. She states she was shot by a female. And when the call came through, Dodie and Avis heard it, but they just heard that a woman had been shot in Big Lake Park, and they immediately thought it was going to be Amy. But it wasn't, so it was Liz. Wow. So Amy opened her door to officers with guns drawn. When told of the situation, Amy's first concern was for Liz's well-being and then for her children. So she immediately asked, is she okay? That was her first question. Yeah.
So right there, good person.
Right, exactly. Then she's really worried about her children, what are they going to do if I'm arrested and all this is going on? Amy offered to take a polygraph, but ended up failing it just due to the stress of the whole situation. And this is why polygraphs are shit. Don't take a polygraph. There's a reason it's not allowed in court. And if you pass it, it doesn't do anything positive for you. They're just like, okay.
People
can fake these. And if you fail it, they're like, bring the hammer down. They didn't in this case. In this case, they didn't. Because several neighbors confirmed that Amy had been home all night, and officers even confirmed that her car was cold and had not been driven that night. So they were like, they didn't do this. So Liz came in for an interview after the shooting. Investigators tell her they suspect Amy. In reality, they're baiting her. The working theory is that Liz stole the gun, shot herself, and is trying to get Amy set up for that and possibly for Cari's death.
You've got to be crazy to shoot yourself. I can barely give myself a shot if I had to, let alone.
Well, remember, she killed her pets.
Oh, that's right. I don't like snakes, honestly, but I wouldn't have killed a snake.
If I was in some situation where somebody's like, either shoot yourself in the leg or kill your dog, I would shoot myself in the leg.
That's true. I mean, last weekend I cried over a mouse caught in a trap. So obviously.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to cry over the mice.
Oh, I was so
They're
sad.
so annoying.
Let them out. Oh.
Okay, wow. So that's the working theory, but they tell Liz that they suspect Amy, and Liz is like, oh, I wouldn't put it past her. And then she just starts going off about how hostile Amy is, how threatening she's been to her and to Cari. They asked Liz to go back through her communications to identify threatening and hostile messages. Wouldn't you know it? Liz finds an email from Amy that says, quote, I shot you in Big Lake Park because you wouldn't stay away from Dave, end quote. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
But also, I like how she specifies where they were.
Right.
I did it.
I give them all the details that they need.
Not you got what you deserved.
Yeah, and it's not like a long rambling message that a crazy person would
30
write.
30 seconds at Big Lake blah blah blah. Yeah. With a shotgun.
Yes. The exact words she needed and none that she didn't. So Avis said she thought she was smarter than us, but she was playing checkers and we were playing chess.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I love these three investigators. They're so awesome. So Cava was working on the new phone information. He found 20 to 30 email addresses and variations of Cari's name that Liz had registered. He also discovered that she was using an app to schedule messages so that she could be with Dave when a barrage of terrible messages came into both of them. So, can't be me. I'm sitting right here next to you. Yeah, you can schedule that shit. Cava estimated that Liz was spending 40 to 50 hours per week impersonating Cari.
That's a full-time, see what I mean? Full-time job.
That's a full-time job. Yep. So investigators talked with Dave, and encouraged him to stay with Amy to protect his children. They were actually hoping for a big reaction from Liz by doing this, and they got it. Liz called the investigators, frustrated that Amy had not been arrested. She said, quote, "She gets to shoot someone, kill someone else, and move in with Dave, and nothing happens to her," end quote. Yeah. The most important thing when you describe a list of objects, typically the most important thing is the last one. The last one she said is gets to move in with Dave. Like,
jealousy.
Yes. So jealous. So crazy. So the cops say, well, we need more evidence. And Liz is like, well, okay, then you didn't even tell me. So she just creates it and sends it to them. And then they trace it that she created it and sent it to them. New emails include details about about Cari's murder, about how she was stabbed in the gut in her own car. And then there are emails about disposal details, but there were some conflicting accounts, so I'm not going to go into those. But I will just say they didn't really expect to be able to find a body after this.
Okay.
Which is very sad. So investigators went back to Cari's car, which had been processed before, but now they removed the fabric from all the seats, and on the passenger seat, details. Yep. They found a large stain that was later confirmed to be Cari's blood. Oh. Liz Gollier was arrested on December 22nd, 2016. Since the alleged murder would have been committed in Omaha. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years the stalking and everything went on. And 3 years that Cari's family didn't have answers.
No.
You know. So, since it would have been committed in Omaha, the Omaha Police Department became involved. Detective Dave Schneider confronted Liz with the evidence against her. She denied ever having seen Cari's car, let alone having ever been inside it to have left a fingerprint. And then she claimed she didn't even have Wi-Fi. Okay. But that was about all she said, and then she lawyered up pretty quickly, like she could see where this was going. At the time of the interview, though, Dave Schneider was giving her the business, and Doty and Avis were executing a search warrant on her residence, where they found a digital camera and a camcorder that had belonged to Cari in her possession. And on the camcorder, there was a video of Cari discussing how her car had been vandalized. It was timestamped 2 days before she disappeared. So, like, all the shit that she was accusing Cari of doing, like keying her car and stuff, she had been doing to Cari. But she escalated to murder so quickly, she didn't get to carry out the rest of the things that she wanted to. So she did them to herself. So investigators were still hoping for more. This was going to be a tough case, especially without a body. So they wanted to get everything they could. They asked Dave if he had any electronics from the time Cari disappeared. He found a tablet in a storage unit. Now, the tablet didn't work, but there was a micro SD card inside, and it was retrievable. The card had been wiped.
This chick never watched Criminal Minds,
right?
CSI.
Well, she wiped it, so she thought it was fine. No. And yeah, it doesn't work that way, honey. Mm-hmm. So it was no big deal for Tony Cava. He pored over the deleted information and concluded that based on the many, many selfies of Liz and the timestamps, yeah, she was a big selfie fan, that this was an SD card belonging to Liz at the time Cari disappeared. So either for her phone or this was her tablet or whatever, but this was her SD card. One photo stuck out. Cava eventually concluded that the subject of the photo was a foot, and not just a foot, but it was the foot of a deceased person because there was venous marbling. This is an event that happens during decomposition, and it only happens during decomposition. So the person has to be deceased. It makes the veins appear almost black. And, you know, when you look at your feet, there's not a lot between, like, the skin and the veins. Isn't. Like, when you look at your foot, you can see your veins.
It's so Walking Dead foot.
Yeah. Yeah, so the veins were black. So this person was deceased. And not only that, though, there was a tattoo on this foot. And Nancy confirmed that Cari had this tattoo. It was the Chinese character for mom. So Tony Cava is a rock star. Not only did he make this case, he was diagnosed. He had been diagnosed several years before with a brain tumor, but he had found out around this time that it had grown, which meant he needed to have surgery.
So he was determined to get this done.
Yes, he postponed this surgery until after the case because he asked the doctor if his intellect would be impacted, if his ability to work on this case would be impacted, and they said very probably. And he probably did. So he said, I'm not having this surgery until I know this is done. I've worked too hard for this, and I want this for Nancy. He probably didn't want
his information to be discredited because, you have this tumor, you have this, and it affected your thinking. Tony.
Additionally, just one other little piece that they had in there. One of the 2 transactions on Cari's bank account after she disappeared, remember there was 2 transactions in the couple of days and then her accounts were never accessed again. But one of those was linked to a Walmart purchase that included a shower curtain that was later found in Liz's residence. So that was a lot of connecting the dots there. The work was still not over. Prosecutor Brenda Beadle said most homicides are dark. This one was bizarre to the point where it would take some convincing to make somebody believe it actually happened. There's no way that someone would let their dog die in a fire that they started. There's no way that someone would shoot themselves in the femur. Well, Liz's defense attorney, James Martin Davis, waived his client's right to a jury trial for a bench trial, meaning the judge would decide the verdict. He said, not only was there no body, there was no crime scene, there was no murder weapon, there was no proof that she even died. We waived the jury trial to move it up so I could try this case, hopefully before they'd find a body. Yeah. Yay, defense attorneys. He also stated at one point, I always want to make sure the focus remains on first-degree murder and not all these other things that make my client look guilty. A jury could be more likely to be swayed by that. Yeah, all these other things that make her look guilty because she's guilty.
She's guilty!
Liz's trial started on May 10th, 2017, and the verdict was given on May 24th, 2017. Judge Timothy Burns said Cari Farver did not voluntarily disappear and drop off the face of the earth. Very sadly, she was murdered. The court finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant intentionally killed Cari Farver with deliberate and premeditated malice. Sentencing was scheduled for August 15th, 2017. Liz was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder and a consecutive, not concurrent, doesn't run together, consecutive. So after she's done with life without parole, she has another 18 to 20 years for arson. She is serving her sentence in the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women. She has not taken responsibility to anything related to this case.
Because she's a princess. She doesn't need to.
Dodie, Avis, and Cava remain close with each other and with Nancy and Dave, who consider them heroes. They not only caught this monster, but they restored Cari's good name and reputation. Also, they set up a scholarship fund in Cari's name. They're just the best. I love them.
That Liz
is
wow.
Nuts.
Like she's
on like a crazy level of nuts.
Like she's gonna tie Dave to a bed in misery and whack his ankle so he can't leave her.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Misery level craziness. So
that was a good one. That was worth retelling.
Because
I did notice certain things that I was not focusing on last time, and wow. Liz, and I totally see why she kept Todd on, because, or not Todd, but the boyfriend, The police officer. Todd?
The boyfriend. Yeah. Todd Butterball.
What? Yeah, Butterball. Todd, because why would you look at a police officer's girlfriend?
Yeah.
Like, in her mind. But...
Well, another thing to me that's really crazy is Cari was the computer programmer, but Liz was the one doing all this, setting all this stuff up to, schedule messages, to send, to hide the IP addresses, to
maybe she
send
thought
from different numbers.
Because Cari was the computer whiz that people would expect her to send it through the computer.
Yeah, and I think that did have an impact on the investigation. So it's nuts. But you guys have requested more true crime. So I believe this episode is airing July 1st. Mm-hmm. And this is kicking off True Crime July. Oh, we should come up with a better name than that.
I know.
We don't have any.
We don't have any.
Does anybody else?
What should we name July? Give us a hint. Give us a lead.
Yeah. So I think every case we're gonna cover in July, we're gonna try and make it true crime.
Yes.
We've got some biggies coming.
I'm excited.
So we will do that. But do expect spookier things in the fall months because we hit Labor Day, and both of us decorate for the spooky season. It is on.
Yes, and we're hoping to have some guests come on to give us some insight on some other things. It just surprises will be coming, and so stay tuned. And we appreciate your support and listening. Don't forget to share us with your friends. Check out our merch. Check out our social media. Social media? What was that slur?
Social media.
Social media.
Check us out on social media. Check out our merch. Please listen again.
Let us know if you want to hear anything. Something to follow, something to check out.
Cornfield Coven Midwest Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, you were on the right track.
Send us, you can send us Facebook messages too.
Yeah.
We get those. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Bye, witches.
Bye.